Now on Enough Said with KFAN Radio's Dan Barrero and Justin Gard.
We got a problem here. I mean, you talk to law enforcement authorities behind the scenes, and they'll say there's a reason that there are as many squads, I think they're up to 4, who are basically based here, who are investigating these sorts of possibilities, these sorts of terror issues.
Enough Said.
It is my conclusion that the use of deadly force by Officer Yanez was not justified.
Welcome back to another edition of Enough Said. My name is Dan Barrero. Alongside me, Justin Gard, and in the control room, as always, Lori Fisher. Hi, Lori.
Hi, guys. A big story this week. Ramsey County Attorney John Choi announces charges in the deadly shooting of Philando Castile. Officer Yanez faces second-degree manslaughter and intentional discharge of a dangerous weapon. He shot and killed Castile during a traffic stop last July in Falcon Heights. Castile's girlfriend, as we all know, posted the aftermath on Facebook Live. Dan?
Well, I have to say, there's still, supposedly, there should be a trial at some point, and I don't want to say, game, set, match.
Right.
But in watching Choi, I thought he was as authoritative and persuasive and detailed as Mike Freeman was. And Mike Freeman came to a different conclusion. He said, we don't have enough to charge. This was in the Clark case. And I thought he laid out that case very persuasively. I thought Choi did a very good job. Now, we haven't heard from the officer yet. We haven't heard his case yet. But in terms of the way he laid out the reasons for him to come to the conclusion that he did, I thought he was persuasive. I thought what he said made sense.
I agree with everything there, and that's why I don't agree with the narrative now that's kind of being passed as, well, we're finally getting accountability, and now it's like we're keeping score. You mentioned the Clark case and Freeman, and I don't like that it turns into that, the score-keeping part of it, because it looks in both of these cases like they did check the evidence. They talked to everybody. They didn't jump to conclusions like everybody wanted them to 1 or 2 weeks into it. This happened in August, right, a while ago.
Yes,
so they
July,
went,
I think.
yeah, they went through the process. They vetted everything out. And I agree with you. I thought it was a very deliberate process, a very good press conference. And you're right, though. The accountability might not happen. 1 out of 3 police officers that deal with something like this, that go to trial, are found guilty. So there is a trial that they have to have.
To amplify on your point, I remember reading the New York Times version of the event after the Choi news conference. It was basically that he listened to the protesters. And
yes,
I'm thinking,
that's not what he's supposed to do.
That's not his job.
Right.
His job is to do what it seems as if he did in a very deliberate fashion. It takes a while to get there to make the case. And that's been the problem all along with this, is that if you demand certain outcomes, regardless of the details and the evidence that's involved, we're doomed. We have no shot. Now, that said, I understand the belief that there's something historic about this taking place because it's so rare. And It's difficult to believe that in none of those other cases have cops ever stepped over the line. And basically, Choi has said this time, no, it's not enough to say you are fearful. There has to be reason that is laid out on the basis of what I deem regarding the evidence to think that you didn't overreact in what it turns out to be a very tragic way. And in that sense, you have to be held accountable. So I think everybody was looking for a case that would at least indicate that, yes, this kind of aggressive approach is possible, but I respect it more when it seems to be, in Choi's case, about him not rigging an outcome,
right,
but saying this is what I feel is the correct approach in terms of what to charge him with on the basis of what I know.
And the evidence that we've seen is he's changed his story, a couple of different times. The officer with him in the interview said, I couldn't believe it when I saw the gun. So
he was stunned.
The evidence that we've seen, they made the right call.
Let's move on. 9 Twin Cities men were sentenced this week for helping ISIS. Their sentences ranging from time served to 35 years behind bars. Those who cooperated with federal investigators got the lightest sentences. Take a listen.
He'll come out of prison with enough time for life. To that extent, I am grateful with the judge.
I say thank you so much. He gave me the low sentence to my son. I appreciate it 100 times a day.
Remember, federal judge Michael Davis is embracing a de-radicalization program and giving second chances. Dan.
Well, this is a real important case, a series of cases that I'm still not sure is getting as much attention as it deserves.
I agree.
And, this is really tough stuff when you're a judge who is attempting to basically distinguish how far he goes in terms of punishment and who is redeemable and who we might, because this is all part of this larger de-radicalization program, right?
Yes.
The idea, rather than just the old quote, throwing the book at everybody and sending everybody away forever. And I think what it confirms is we got a problem here. I mean, you talk to law enforcement authorities behind the scenes, and they'll say there's a reason that there are as many squads, I think they're up to 4, who are basically based here, who are investigating these sorts of possibilities, these sorts of terror issues. This stuff is serious, but it appears to me this judge has tried to take a very, deliberate, you could say layered approach and not throwing the book at everybody, but still came off in the cases of several at delivering very strong punishments as a strong statement.
You're right about not getting enough attention, because we all hear ISIS or ISIL, we hear the terrorism thing thrown around,
right.
But I don't think we've really looked into it. And he was very direct when he threw down some of these sentences, really to the public more even than the defendants, saying there's a cell here. Like, you guys might not want to know about it, you might not hear about it, but we have a significant problem here. And I do think it's interesting that he's kind of supporting de-radicalization in some cases, but then in the others he's not.
No.
Right? Straight up.
No,
Right?
he's basically said, I think one of the quotes was, "You're not fooling me."
Yes.
I think it was the quote, something like that.
So the quotes from the judge were very interesting to read, because he has had to go case by case by case and decide. And maybe that's too much power for one person, maybe not. But I like it in theory in terms of de-radicalization, but it is risky. I mean, they are putting it out there, and you hear some of the defendants saying it was pretty easy for me to be radicalized in the first place. I just, was kind of lost. I looked at some of the videos, and so the ones
that process was pretty unnerving to hear.
Yes.
Come home with a guy, start looking at some YouTube videos, and the process gets started that way. Yeah.
Okay, next up, let's get to Donald Trump's first week as president-elect. He's getting his team together, including offers for Attorney General and CIA Director, just to name a few. Trump tweeting, "Very organized process taking place as I decide on cabinet and many other positions. I am the only one who knows who the finalists are. Plus, you still have some protests and what's being called Trump aversion syndrome." Guys?
He's the only one that knows? I mean, he should probably let some people know, don't you think?
That's the reality
every single
show.
job?
That's the reality show guy
tease.
in him saying, I got to, I'll divulge it, and there might be some
Monday at 9,
right?
Yeah, Monday at 9.
I'll divulge.
Yeah, well, it's been an interesting week, but isn't this didn't we expect a little bit of chaos? And I don't think that's necessarily terminal or fatal.
Well, no,
for an
and I don't even think it's
administration.
unique to Trump. We make some assumptions on that.
That's
no,
the
there's
other
been a
good
lot
point.
of that kind of stuff.
Well, my favorite is, at this point in 2000, the first election I voted in, we didn't even know who the president was at this point. Now, do I think that President Bush and would-be President Gore probably had it a little bit more buttoned up in terms of transition teams? Probably. But at that point, we had no idea. So is it a rush? Do they have Do they have to sprint?
Well,
yes, but I don't think this week is proof that, we told you, it's not going to be good.
And I think a lot of it's going to be, for me, it's one appointment. It sounds like that could be pretty sane. And then there's one appointment where you go, oh, my God.
Are you kidding? Yeah,
in
what
the
year
case
is
of Bannon,
this? Yeah.
Which is more complicated than we have time to get into today. But I think that's the way the pattern is going to play out. I am hoping, and I don't know if this is too much to hope, on the Democratic side, that we don't have any more. I don't need any more of the precious hand-wringing letters from famous celebrities to their kids about what this means.
What are they going to tell them?
Are you going to be okay? And curling up in the feet, like kids, again, can't handle any of this stuff. And you got to wear a safety pin and all this stuff that's completely over the line to me. But what's ironic is that now all the Dems are turning on Barbara Streisands of the world, who spent all this money holding these big events, and now it's like you're too close to the elites, and you got to walk away and spend more time on getting to know, as Bernie Sanders put it, rightly, the white working class.
What do we make of son-in-law's influence on all of this? I'm conflicted
I don't know yet.
on son-in-law, because it seems like he's like a little Trump Jr., right? And that his dad owned a company, and then he got the company, and now he's made billions, and he's rich, and he's married to Trump's daughter, and he already fired Christie, who put his dad in jail a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of years ago, 10, 12 years ago, when he was the attorney general, I think. I don't know. Obviously, he's a sharp guy, but it also seems like Trump goes to him for everything, doesn't it? And I don't know. He's my age. That worries me. I don't think anybody my age should be in charge of everything in the country.
Because some people are already, there's one theory online that Paul Ryan is actually running everything, and Trump doesn't even know it. I'm not sure I buy that, but that's going to be the game, is who's really
actually
running it.
Yeah.
And because
Coming up on Enough Said.
because I do think they are serious-minded guys.
Well, that's the key to it.
Wiggins, you could see, is thriving under whatever Tibbs is doing with him. That could just be the natural evolution.
Yes.
He might be so good and so talented.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I've known Blair since high school. We've gone kicking camps. But, you know, I feel for him because I've been in the same situation. And I've learned the hard way. It's just a tough business. So, you know, I obviously wish him the best. I'm just thankful for the opportunity.
Blair Walsh is out, and Kai Forbath is in as kicker for the Vikings. It seemed like just a matter of time for Walsh. Do you think his NFL career is over, and what do you think Forbath can do for the team? He says he is going to take it one kick at a time. Justin?
That's probably the right approach, one kick at a time.
He's got his cliches
Isn't
down,
that
doesn't
what every kicker does?
Pretty much.
Blair Walsh's career is not over.
Do you think Walsh was taking it 3 or 4 kicks at a time, and that's why he kept hitting the right goalpost?
No, I think every time he went out there, he was thinking about the 27-yarder against Seattle that he hooked wide left, and he could never really get over that. Had you forgotten about that one?
Yeah.
Well, there have been a lot of
needed to.
misses in between,
That's
so
true.
It is easy to forget about that. Walsh will kick in this league again.
No question.
He's got a great leg. I think most of us, once we got to the realization, and you were here a long time, even before I was, I thought he could be a reclamation project.
Sure.
I was wrong. So were the Vikings, because that's the way they played it as well. He's got a good leg. He makes 50-yarders. He had a terrific rookie year, but mentally, I think it was the baggage of that miss, Mike Zimmer, Mike Prefer, the Vikings, all of it, where they had to go. And it's a lesson in what should be done. What needs to be done eventually should be done immediately.
They should have done it. I said it after the first week.
You did.
And we could have gotten good as Gold then, who
Robbie
at least
Gould
will make his extra points.
Yes.
He ended up with the Giants in the meantime. And I warned people that I'm still, and I guess we know why they waited. It was the money. There are some salary cap implications, all that stuff. And I can't say it cost them. I'm not sure that it cost them any games because they won the first 5 anyway.
Yes.
But, you know, now with Forbath, you never know. He could end up being the greatest kicker ever.
Kicker's a weird thing. It's a weird deal.
Or he could go, 500. I mean, that's the thing. The game they're in now is the game they hope to avoid with Walsh. Paying him all that money and locking in, like we don't want to play that merry-go-round game that a lot of teams do. But they had no choice. They had to do it. And the kid's got a good leg, but kickers are weird.
They are. It's a weird deal.
Their brains are weird. And I've maintained, my theory is, if they think too much, they're doomed. And I think he's too much of a thinker. He needs to be dumber.
Too cerebral?
I think you need to be dumb if you're a kicker because I think you're more likely to just let what happened in the past go away.
So should there
Stupid kickers are the best ones.
You think so?
I think I can prove that analytically.
Should there be a special teams quality control guy that maybe takes him out on the weekend, gets him to smoke cigarettes before the game
or
something like that to loosen him up? That's kind of the picture I have in my head of your perfect
bar,
kicker.
Is that Berger?
Mitch Berger.
He was not. He was a punter.
He was the punter.
But, he was punter guy.
Now they've allegedly fixed this problem, or at least done something different with the problem, because he could go out against Arizona, miss 2 extra
left
points.
Tackle?
That's exactly right. And can he play running back and get a yard after contact?
Go ahead, do your regular McKinnon and cheap shot.
Can he play any spot on the offensive line? Can he play defense? Because that's been leaky as well.
Time.
So hoops time, I guess.
I guess that's enough.
Well, so we'll see.
Right. Enough said.
It's a new face.
Let's turn to the Timberwolves. They are 4-7. They did win their latest game. But here's the question. If we are supposed to have some of the best young talent in the league, why is the team struggling to win games, Dan?
Well, they did get a victory last night.
It's a really strong Philly team.
Got a lot of young talent.
They're in the same boat.
They're about a year behind us at least,
right.
I think. And so I'm not sure it's a litmus test other than if they'd lost, there's a good chance Thibodeau might have murdered 2 of the players. And that's against the law.
That would have been a big
admittedly,
story.
And it would have been a hell
We probably
would have
led with that.
We probably would have led with it. And I got to say, I mean, Wiggins has emerged.
Yes.
But I got to say, I knew Tibbs was a taskmaster, but I am starting to worry a little bit about what I would call the joylessness factor. And maybe behind the scenes, this is more tempered and more nuanced, to use your term, than we think. But it does come off, third quarter, because they're so terrified of bad third quarters, they're still up by 25 or 30, and they look like they're down 30.
They're tense.
And I know part of that is they don't want to repeat themselves, but I'm hoping, now maybe they're serious-minded enough that they can take all this, but Tibbs is not a guy who's even going to clap once if somebody makes a nice play, it doesn't appear. And I do worry a little bit whether that ends up having a cumulative weight that a couple of the young guys at some point say, man, back off a little bit here. Are we worried about that yet?
I'm not. Because I do think they are serious-minded guys.
Well, that's the key to it.
Wiggins, you could see, is thriving under whatever Tibbs is doing with him. That could just be the natural evolution.
Yes.
He might be so good and so talented that any coach could get this out of him. But he seems like a different guy. They're running stuff for him late
far more
games.
dynamic.
Karl Anthony Towns wants to be that guy, so I don't think he'll mind getting pushed and prodded and lectured constantly. And Levine, we've said all along, could he be a little bit more touchy-feely? Probably. But you're right about the third quarter. It becomes a thing.
Yeah, it becomes like a complex.
After something happens over and over again, you do start to worry about it, and you get asked about it every day. And at halftime, you're sitting there thinking, is it going to happen again? Are we really going to play a bad third quarter? So I do think that it can develop into a complex, but it's still so early in this whole thing. Exactly,
and that's why I don't want to overreact to it. I just want to watch it a little bit because
so is this a Tibbs watch, not a Tibbs warning?
It's a watch because sadly, even serious-minded players of that generation
need a break.
Are told since they're 9 years old they're the greatest ever, and they're not. Many of them aren't used to this sort of coaching. Now,
we have to move on.
Some of that they needed. Like we said, some of this is their defense has been atrocious.
It has been.
And look, they got a chance to be really good. It ain't going to be this season, but they got a chance to be really good.
Okay, let's get to the Twins. We'll round out this sportsy block with the Twins and their payroll issues. Does payroll matter? Dan, you say the new bosses seem to suggest that it's overrated.
Well, I guess the Pohlads probably love it.
Yes.
They're the new guys they hired, just by coincidence, feel it's overrated. But I'm bothered by, I think some people are feeling vindicated. The people who think the whole payroll issue on the Twins has been overrated, they feel vindicated by the quote, but they shouldn't be.
Right.
The point of the quote, I think, is at this time especially, payroll's meaningless.
When they're bad.
You've got to have a base of a good operation in which you are building much of your talent, not all of it, but much of your talent through the system, okay? And that's the mess they have right now. They've got no pitchers that we are excited about. They don't have that many pitchers in the system that people are excited about. And so at this point, you're right. I mean, throwing another $80 million out there isn't going to mean anything if your base isn't good. But that shouldn't excuse what the Twins have been bad at, and that's been both. It's been at times payroll, and it's been at times development. It doesn't have to be one or the other, and most of us don't expect that they're going to go out and get the $200 million player.
Never.
So I just don't want the Twins apologists to feel like, well, see, Falvey said, and he's from Cleveland. They know that payroll doesn't matter. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Payroll only doesn't matter if your development is really, really good.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
You have to be able to develop
and even then,
people.
you can still,
it's supposed to go hand in hand.
add another piece to your roster when you have one or two mistakes.
And we've said it on this show, I think, for the last couple of weeks when we've talked about what they're going to bring organizationally and what my hope is at least, and I'm sure Falvey and Levine have vetted this out. I hope they have at least.
You love their language, don't you? You love that MBA analytic.
I would say my vision is aligned with their vision.
Yeah,
I love, what do they call it? Horizontal leadership. I love horizontal leadership.
They won the new, as Mace said, as Glenn Mason would say,
they won the
you're
news
happy
conference.
that they won the press conference. That's enough for you.
The staff is going to have to get bigger, and I'm not talking about the baseball teams. I'm talking about the operations of it. And I think that's scouting department, that's front office. They were lacking in a lot of areas. Payroll on the field, maybe. Payroll in the front office, for sure.
For sure.
And that needs to be beefed up because that's what every sport's doing now. There's different job titles. There's different people that work on different things. And staffs, college football, NBA, they're just bloating. Maybe there's too many jobs, but the Twins.
Time for the lightning round. We were spoiled, and now it's back to reality. Winter weather is here. Blizzard-like conditions in some parts of the state. Are you guys prepared? Take a look.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm prepared.
Ready?
Yeah, well, why wouldn't I be? We like to call on the radio show, we like to call these storms snonamis.
Snonamis.
This one has already, it's definitely Snonami Blair Walsh because it's going wide left of the metro, right?
I
mean, it's
one.
Absolutely perfect. That's from one of our listeners, our loyal listeners. I mean, it says it all.
Even though we've been lucky, I'm still never really ready for it.
Yes,
each
you are.
year that goes by,
You're one
I get
of us.
worn
You're
down
supposed
by
to be more ready than me.
I
I'm
know.
not one of them.
I know,
Okay,
but I'm getting
up.
worn down.
Let's talk Gophers. Who has a better chance of coaching next season, Patino or Clays?
You're the Gopher, Bobo.
Well, I would say just buyout reasons. I would say Patino, if that's what you're going with. I don't think either one of them should be fired. I know you've talked a little bit about.
Well, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens with Patino.
They lose to Northwestern.
No.
If they lose the next two, I think there should be a discussion.
I'm sure there will be a discussion, but as you said, and I've said, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
We're the buyout capital of the world. We fire coaches all the time.
His buyout's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket.
Assistants would cost more, actually, believe it or not.
This next one is really sad. Longtime PBS anchor Gwen Ifill died this week from cancer. She was just 61 years old. She joined PBS back in 1999 with co-anchor of PBS NewsHour. Dan?
Yeah, a major loss, I would say. I didn't even know she was ill.
Right.
It was one of those deals where it was kept relatively private. I put her in the category of just pro's pro.
Journalist.
Didn't draw a lot of attention to herself, just kind of did her job, which is kind of refreshing sometimes in a business where, let's face it, there are a lot of bloviators and a lot of blowhards.
Friday nights, 9:30, my Fox 9.
Case in point,
enough
on the local
said.
scene, absolutely.
I'd say enough said.
Very sad. 'Tis the season to spend money. The average household, according to the St. Thomas annual survey, will spend $918 this holiday season. Justin?
I really hope our household is on the under of that average, but I'm
heard
worried.
you cringe earlier when that number was thrown
I'm starting
out.
because
What does that mean?
I lose track of it. I'm not really in charge
It's healthy
of
for the
it.
economy, though.
It would be good. It would be
Right?
a nice
It's
stimulus,
supposed
a
to
nice
help.
holiday stimulus
Yeah.
package. That's good. I hope I'm on the under. What I do know is my immediate family on the outside, they'll be spending that much on the kids in my house,
That's the
which I
beauty
guess
of it,
is nice.
yeah.
The top gift,
That's
gift
it.
card. Gift card followed by travel and then cash. So
I like
any
all
of
of them.
those work for me. Next up, Star Wars
She wants a gift.
bombshell. Princess
That's what it sounds
Leia
like.
and Han Solo, according to Carrie Fisher in her new book, had a little affair on the set of the first movie. She was 19 and he was 33. Guys,
Lori loves the gossipy
I know,
stuff.
it's
It's
amazing.
unbelievable.
But it's
She always
juicy.
it is juicy. You love it.
Well, is it true, though?
Well, she said it in her book.
She said it in the book. Maybe she's trying to sell the book. Has Harrison Ford commented yet?
Haven't seen anything
I think,
from Harrison
I think he
Ford.
was married at the time.
Was
correct?
he? I
Yeah,
don't
so
remember.
he may not want to comment on it.
Right.
Well, are we anybody? Isn't this what we believe about all these Hollywood sets?
And the movie
That
sets?
basically they're all having sex with each other at one time or another.
I think that's part of
That's
the
the
deal.
way it's supposed to work.
Isn't that the life of an actor? Isn't that why you become an actor?
Well, part
okay,
of it,
next
yeah.
up. No need to worry anymore. That peach emoji that looks like, well, a butt is back. Apple redesigned it, restoring it to its glory. I guess people were upset about this, and now it's back, so you can text it to whatever reason you would need to use it. Dan?
Why would you need to text that? I'm curious. It seems like
Working
Lori
out.
understands.
Encouraging your
I
friends
didn't
to
even
work
know.
out.
Did you know that emoji? Each emoji
Yes,
obviously
it has a
like
separate
several.
meaning.
But
I did know that.
Could this be why Al Qaeda hates us?
It
that
could
we're
be one of the reasons.
absolutely obsessed with. Well, God, it was a kind of a butt-like emoji before, and now you've kind of cleaned it up, and it doesn't have the same sentimental meaning to
No,
me.
I can't send that to somebody.
That's
How are
sad.
they going to know?
And
that
why?
I'm not-
How is that not a human resources violation?
It should be.
And we are
2016?
saving the best lightning round topic for last. He's here. It's a boy. Justin and
Oh, look
his
at that.
wife
Look
at that.
have
Cutest
added
kids
another
ever.
boy to the Guard family, little Grace and George. Are you guys getting any sleep? And how is Jack doing? Is he jealous? Justin.
He's not jealous yet. That frog you see in that photo, that's going to cause some problems because he was
Yeah.
supposed to give his
Oh,
brother
yeah,
the frog,
yeah,
but
right.
now he wants the frog.
How's
so
the pooch? Sometimes don't forget the pooch is
the dog's hasn't-
psychological.
The dog hasn't met the newest
Issues.
edition yet, but Jackman's a proud big brother. So
Outstanding.
thanks for showing the picture.
Congratulations, yeah.
Grayson. Now
And-
he's home now.
And
so
my
we'll see.
understanding is you're going to keep going until you have a girl because you want to balance it out. Is that true?
That's not
And
my
that's
vote.
not your call.
No, not my call at all.
Well, you
but
said not
that's
your
what,
vote. You have no vote.
I know, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I've been instructed that we will be chasing the inevitable girl, but until then, we need to know how to raise two boys.
Well,
so.
yeah, that's, it's like it's not double, it's actually triple.